here with Miami coach Anthony Noreen ahead of this weekend's home series against number 12 Arizona State, and we'll take some questions.
Coach, first I've got an overall question. Looking through, I just wondered how you'd assess the play of your team and the development of your team over the course of the season. It seems like the results have not necessarily been what you'd want, but it seems like your team is playing better than those results on the scoreboard would show. So I want to get your assessment of how the team has progressed and how the team's playing right now.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think without a doubt we've gotten better. I think we've gotten more consistent. We would like to be way better than what we are right now. We would like to be way more consistent with that. I think Friday night was a good example of that. I mean, you come off a couple games where you felt like you took a really good stride, and hey, you didn't get the results, but there was a lot more of what we want to consistently see and feel and be about, and then you felt like Friday night was a step back, and then you make some lineup changes because of it, and now you feel like Saturday you're in the game, and it just we would like for that to be way more consistent. And I think if it was consistent, you could live with the weekends where maybe you just don't get the result. And obviously that starts at the top. Like we want to be better. Do I think this group's gotten better? I don't even think it's a discussion question. I think they've gotten night and day better. I think we've tightened a lot of things up. But there's absolutely zero satisfaction with where we are or how far that development has come. I think it's an area we need to continue to get better on. And again, no matter what the results are, we show up and we get back to work and we keep pushing and we continue to do individual video and have individual plans with the guys and push on guys, push on the system, address our structure where we think we can be better, practice it, feel it, show it. And that's the only way we know how to go about things.
You mentioned that Friday to Saturday, and Friday kind of got away, and then Saturday you come back strong and you're right there in that game. There have been other times during the season where that's been the case, where you've had a sort of a tougher loss, and then the guys dig deep or whatever it is, and they come back really strong in that next game. What do you attribute that to, that dig deep mentality, to almost take offense to the previous night or the previous weekend and come back strong in that next game?
I mean, I think it's the guys. When we've played really well, at the end of the day, it's been their choices and their decisions and how hard they've played and how committed and how much they've stuck together that have led to us, being right there toe-to-toe with some really good hockey teams. Again, I don't think there's ever been a point where we've taken a moral victory or felt good about a loss. Like, we're just never going to do that. There's always something you could learn. There's always an area you could be better. You go back and look at Saturday's game. That's 2-0, but they outchance us. They outshoot us. They outpossess us. Like, there's areas that could put us in a better position to be more competitive in that game, to give yourself a chance, and so you always address those. But again, I think our guys, when they're totally committed and when they push and when they work for each other, I feel like they've given themselves a chance every single time. As a coach, you lay out a plan, and obviously you take a lot of pride in your preparation, in the lead up, and the week going to. And I think part of leadership is when things are going poorly, you take more of the blame, and when things are going well, you give more of the credit. And I think for this group, like, listen, we've got to do a better job developing them. We have to do a better job preparing them. We have to do a better job coaching them. But I don't think there's been quit in these guys. I don't think there's been any, laid out. Like, again, you lose that game Friday night, you're going back Saturday night, against number 3 team in the country, sold out barn. Like, you could have very easily just laid down, and we went at them. We went toe to toe and nose to nose with them. We didn't back down, and some guys in the lineup playing way up than what they have, whether it's this year or in their careers, and I thought that was good to see. Now, the key is, do you take that and do you go back to work? Do you build on that, learn from what went well, learn from what went poorly, and take a better advantage of the next opportunity in front of you? Like, we have no room for error. We have no room for error in anything we do and how we practice and how we approach a workout or a video session. That's just the way that we have to be right now.
With this being the sort of the home stretch of the season, we're more than halfway through. This is the home stretch, and people may look at the standings in the conference and you don't want to give up on a season, but you're building for the future and you're looking ahead. But what do you set as the goals? What do you instill in the team as we come through this home stretch and you look at the games and make sure that every game matters here on out?
Yeah, I mean, I could promise you that there's nobody that's given up on this season, or no matter what the results are. Like, we are going to coach and play and in practice hard and do it till the very end. Absolutely, without a single shred of doubt. What we'd like to see is the groups to stay engaged and realize that the goal that we put forth at the beginning of the season is still completely attainable. It is still completely attainable, and how we approach every day and how we approach the games is what's going to either make that goal, that we got to it, or we didn't, or we fell short. And the goal was about changing the culture here and how we do what we do and how we approach the rink every day and how we stick together and just what our workflow is like, what our practices are like, what our meetings are like, what our compete levels like. When something goes wrong, how do we respond? Like that is what this year was about. And I think, listen, for the guys going out the door, like obviously, we want them to go off to something better as well, so that matters. But I think even for them, we want them to be able to look back at this year, no matter what the end result is, and be able to say, hey, I was part of kickstarting something. I was part of getting something going in the right direction that, hey, 3 years later, 4 years later, 10 years later, man, I'm really proud of that I was a part of getting that going. And, that's been the goal from day one. It's never veered. We've never once talked about standings or wins or let's try and, get this many games. Like we're just, right now we're focused on what's most important. And like I said, it is our culture above everything else that we do, and that's just not going to change.
Looking ahead at your opponent this weekend, Arizona State, I think they've exceeded expectations, at least from an outside perspective. But Benji Eckerly played for you at Tri-Cities. You've seen a lot of these guys in the USHL. Could you see their success sort of building the program that they're building?
Yeah, I mean, I remember hanging out with Greg in Minneapolis when we were doing the media day at the beginning of the year, and I don't know where they were picked, somewhere near the bottom of the conference. I said, I think you guys arguably might have the best team in the league on paper. And if not, you're right there in the top 2 or 3. And he was kind of excited because he thought people were taking them lightly as well. But I mean, I think they've done an unbelievable job. Obviously they got a new rink, which is kind of the one missing piece that they had. But it's a Power 5 school. They've kind of paid their dues, and I think they've now gotten to the point where they are attracting and are recruiting elite level players. When you start to get the high-end player out of the USHL, when you start to get the high-end player from the U.S. national team, I mean, that's what you need to compete at this level. No matter how hard you work, every team in our league works hard. They all work. Like they're all competitive. They're all well coached. They're all organized, disciplined, structured. Every one of them. Like when you start getting those elite guys, and they stick to your to your culture and your work habits and all those things, that's when you really have a chance. And I think that's kind of the point they've gotten themselves to now.
And what do you expect from your team going into this? Is it still more centrally focused? Do you look at I know you scout the opponent, but but how do you match up? How do you kind of try to slow them down?
Listen, we give our guys the information we feel like they need to know. We talk about it during the week. The last few weeks for us has been, let's find out what issue do we think we need to work on the most to address, to fix, and throughout the week. And we pick a central theme, and the themes we've picked, our guys have taken really good strides in. So we've got one for this week. We've worked on it, we've showed it, we've practiced it, we've repped it. I thought the guys have done a good job with it. We're looking at an opportunity to go compete against one of the top teams in the country on home ice on a Friday and Saturday night, and there's only so many of these left. And that's whether you're a freshman or whether you're a fifth-year senior. Like, you need to take advantage of every single one of these opportunities. It should be the best part about your career, your life, whatever. Like, playing college hockey at home in front of your classmates, in front of your community. Like, there should be a ton of pride that goes along with that. And again, the work that these guys do, the work they put in during the week, there should be a confidence built that, like, we deserve for something good to happen. We're going to work until we do get the result that we want. And, I think that's just got to be the overarching, mentality of our guys.
Here with Ryan Sullivan ahead of this weekend's home series against number 12 Arizona State, and we will take some questions.
Ryan, as this season progresses, how have you seen the development of the team? It hasn't necessarily been the results that you've wanted on the scoreboard, but you've made strides. You're in games closer than I think you have been, and I think that your record would indicate. So how have you seen, as the team captain, the progression, the buy-in of coach's culture and of the program?
Yeah, we've had our challenges, but like you said, a lot of guys are buying in, and that starts even with our ozone player. Defensive play lately has been better. We're managing pucks in a smarter way, and a lot of guys are stepping into different roles, and changing their style of game to fit the culture of the team. So it's been growing, but there's more to come, and it's been a good start though lately.
All right, last weekend, your first 2-goal game. Tell me about that. How does it feel to be rewarded for the work you're putting in and to be able to net a couple?
Yeah, it's obviously nice individually, but the scoreboard wasn't nearly what we expected or needed as a team with 8-3. But hockey's a game, you never know when they bounce in or the timing of those. So it was just fortunate for myself, but our team, hopefully that can help moving forward.
I think we briefly asked you about it earlier, right after you were named captain. But named captain a few weeks into the season. Now that you've had time in it and we're later in the season, first of all, how's the honor? What has the honor meant to you in being a team captain?
Yeah, it's meant everything. It's just such an honor, and the people who've worn it before me and this historic program, it's such a great line of leaders and people who have come before me that, for me, that's just something I take pride in and try to carry myself to that standard every day. Granted, results are results, and I want to help try and be on a better side of those things, and sometimes it's out of your control, but just try to set that good example for the guys every day, and I'm proud to be in this position voted by them.
And like I said, now that we've had some time to look back on it, how do you think you've progressed as a leader, and how have you continued to help the team, help them through some hard times at times?
Yeah, I think it's just like I try to message, just control what you can control. Like, we can't control the outcome every night, but if we can show up and be our best selves, and things will come, and I really believe in our team, and there's things better ahead for this group.
Looking ahead, you got a tough matchup this weekend, a team that's playing extremely well in Arizona State. What do you expect from this weekend and carrying forward, trying to build on little things from the last few weeks?
Yeah, they'll be a good team, but at least the last few weeks we've played two of the top teams in the conference with Western and Denver, and we've held up. We've had good games, and some areas we can improve. But I think we just stick to our plan and listen to our coaches, and we could surprise anyone any night, and I know that.
Seems like when there's a particularly tough night, you guys seem to bounce back really strong. Friday night, the score got away from you guys against Western, and then Saturday, a 2-goal game. You're right there in that thing. So how have you been able, as a unit, to bounce back so strong?
Yeah, it's just wipe the slate clean. You got to stay in the present moment, and we're all competitive athletes in there. So you just got to move on from the next quickly, and we view every game as an opportunity to get that win. So there's no time to sulk and what's happened. You got to go, and you got to go quick.
Unfortunately, shutout on Saturday, but you've created more chances, it seems like, over the last couple of weeks. You've been rewarded with a couple of goals, and I know there's not a magic button, but what can you do to generate some more scoring chances and get some more goals on the board?
Yeah, message for me or anyone, and the coaches have been relaying it this week, is just getting to those dirty areas around the net and delivering more pucks there. And when you're in those areas, good things can happen more often. If you're on the perimeter, it might take you more games, or you're not going to get the shots you need. So for us, it's, as a group, just getting to those hard areas more often.